Hi, my name is Lauren and welcome to my craft room. Today I am hopping with Team Tiny for our autumn themed hop, and I have this really cute card using some new Lawn Fawn products. It is this cute little card. It is using their new shutter die, so it's going to have a window style fold, and I'm keeping mine together with a little piece of baker's twine. And when you open it up, the shutter card reveals a cute little sleeping squirrel inside. So it's a really fun autumn scene, and I hope you enjoy this video. I'll talk a little bit more about Team Tiny and our hashtag right after this. I'm starting off with the new shutter dies from Lawn Fawn, and I'm cutting the largest of the actual card base using some brown paper in my stash, and I'm going to be using this panel die to create 6 panels on my card. So I'm measuring out the panel size on some white cardstock so I can distress this in different colors. So I'm going to be using Mowed Lawn on the bottom, but I wanted to distress my sunset scene first, and I'm gonna go through this quickly because I didn't want to take up too much of my video time. So I'm going in with yellow, distress oxides, orange, and red, and I will have all the colors listed below, but the colors are scattered straw, fossilized amber, spiced marmalade, bright persimmon, crackling campfire, and fired brick. So I go through from lightest to darkest, and I'm putting in the color, and then I'm going back the other way trying to smooth out those transitions a little better, so that way it gives my sunset a more fluid look to the colors. And once I finish back up with that scattered straw at the end, I'm going to clean up my work surface, and I'm going to bring in my Grassy stencil with Mowed Lawn to stencil on the bottom. It doesn't need to line up perfectly. I'm just adding this in because it's going to get die cut, and you won't really notice when I put my scene together on top of these panels. So real quick about Team Tiny, this is a Facebook group of crafters who are newer to YouTube and are trying to build up their subscriber base. In order to be a part of Team Tiny, you have to have less than 1,000 subscribers. And the benefit of these hops is that because we have less than 1,000 subscribers, our channels are not yet monetized, so there are no ads or commercial breaks during our videos. We also like to keep our hop easy to follow, so instead of linking videos, it's a hashtag based hop. So you just need to click on the hashtag in my title or in my description, and it will show all of the participants in this hop. So now that my background is done, I cut out 6 panels using that die cut from the Shutter Cards die set, and I put it into my little box here, and I sprinkled it with different silks. I've got sparkle silk, gold silk, and bronze silk because I wanted to keep with that warm tone. And I'm gonna glue these panels onto my card base now. I am gluing 4 panels on the inside, and the other 2 will go on the outside of the card. So the first panel is going here on the left, and I'm going to use an acrylic block to hold that down. And then I'm gonna glue my panel on the opposite side of my shutter card and move that block to put some pressure on there to help speed up the process of gluing these down. And now I want to add a little bit to behind the actual shutter interactive piece. So I'm gluing these 2 panels down, even though most of it will be hidden. And now that that's dry, I flip it over, and I'm making sure that I'm gluing my pieces on the right side, and I'm gonna glue the other 2 down. But first I cut some brown baker's twine I have in my stash because this is how I'm gonna keep this card closed. So I lay the twine down and glue that panel on using my clear block to help, and I straighten out that twine, and I'm gonna glue down the other side. Now that these panels are glued down, I'm going to flip it over and make sure my card will bend and close easily with that twine, and that it wasn't too taut and it won't actually close. Now it's time to work on the interactive part of this card. I have my Woodgrain background stamp, and I'm using some Lawn Fawn ink and Walnut, and I'm going to stamp this onto these 2 little kind of banner cut pieces. And I realized that when it's closed, I want the wood grain to look seamless. So I'm gonna need a stamping tool to help me. So I cleaned that off and I'm putting it on my We Are Memory Keeper stamping tool and lining it up to where it will be on those two pieces. And I'm going to take one away, and before I stamp I need to add some scrap paper under. So I put that paper, line it back up again, use my magnets to hold the right side of my shutter in place, and I'm going to remove the one on the left. I'm inking up my wood grain just to make sure I have my ink in the right spot. And to help me remember where that left wood grain piece is going to go, I used a pencil just to mark so I know I can place back that left piece in the right spot. I'm going to ink up that stamp again and stamp the left side. So now when I put it back together, it looks seamless, and I really like that look. It looks very fluid, and it's a little detail that may not be noticeable, but helps, I think, with the overall look of the card. So now I'm going to put this shutter piece together. I'm using some strong double-sided sticky tape on the left piece of the shutter, and I'm going to follow those little score lines from the die to glue this in. I love that Lawn Fawn makes this die so easy to use and put together. Now I'm going to do the right side again, taking off that tape, lining it up between the score lines and into the crease of the card, fold it over, and it picks it up, and it's perfect. Now to actually cover the shutter piece, I'm using the add-on because it makes it easy. I have the add-on here, and I cut it in some wood grain paper from Lawn Fawn in the darkest brown color. And I'm going to be adding some double-sided strong sticky tape on the top there, and I'm lining up the top of this cover piece to the edge of the card, and I'm going to glue down the piece I cut out from the circle and put that on the inside. I want it to look like my squirrel, who's on the inside sleeping, is going to be actually in the tree. And now I'm putting sticky tape on the bottom part so I can close this up, making sure to overlap my shutter pieces. They are supposed to go left over right on one side and right over left on the other side with an overlap to close. And so I'm closing it up, tying it and opening it just to make sure everything is working and it looks great. So I took a break here to stamp, color, and cut out a bunch of different images from this set from Lawn Fawn called Let's Go Nuts, and I colored the images using my pro markers in different warm tones. So I'm going to decorate the front of my card. I'm going to spare you the different setups I do because I want to keep this video as short as possible. So here I am gluing on the layout that I liked the best. I've got one squirrel jumping over a pile of leaves, another squirrel throwing leaves up in the air, an acorn, and I'm gonna have another squirrel with his cute little chubby cheeks like he's been snacking on some of those acorns here on the front. I like to color my squirrels in warm gray tones as well as brown, just to give a little bit of fun and different color to the squirrels. And now on the inside, I'm gonna glue down the little pile of acorns upside down inside of the tree with the squirrel sitting on top. And he's taking a little nap with all of his acorns. I'm putting a pile of leaves towards the bottom here, and I'm gonna have that cute little baby squirrel, the tiny squirrel, sitting on top. And I apologize, some of this is out of frame. I do scoot it up here in a minute. And I took a pile of leaves, and I'm actually going to crease it and put it in the crease of the card just to kind of give some flow between the different panels. And I have a squirrel holding an acorn here on the left. Now to put in front of the tree, I want my little squirrel with his red wagon. So I am going to glue down the squirrel and glue the wagon so it looks like it's in his hand, like he's pulling the little wagon along, and add glue to my wagon and put that right down on the bottom of the card, like in front of this, what I'm hoping looks like a tree. Then I glue my other little acorn stack into his wagon. I have this little extra acorn. I want it to look like it kind of fell off the wagon as he's pulling it. And I'm going to take this extra leaf stack and put it on the top. I wanted it to look like the tree still had some leaves, and I just thought it would bring a little bit more to the tree center. Now I'm deciding on my sentiment. I'm using the small wavy banner, and I'm using sentiment stamps from the Let's Go Nuts set, and I'm putting grateful for you. So I'm going to cut that out of white cardstock, and I'm stamping my sentiment in black ink onto the banner, and I stamped it more to the left because I am going to trim it down. So I center the sentiment to the circle of the shutter card, gluing it down and trimming off the edge that overhangs. I didn't want anything to disrupt my shutter card, so I wanted to keep it to the size of that middle piece. So now I am tying my bow and cutting down the extra twine. And I wanted to add some, of course, more glittery elements. So I have this orange stickles. Who knows how old it is? Probably 10 years old. And it took me a little while to get started, and I'm just adding some fun little shiny drops to the front on the outside of my card as well as the inside, but of course not thinking that I can't close it till it dries again. So I will show you some final pictures of the card next after it's all been dried. So here is the outside. I love the sunset scene, and the inside is so cute. When it opens up, you see the little squirrel inside. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and continue on the hop. Have a great day.